Okay, well, I started working on this mini. It's a mini I'm doing for a friend of mine. And then kind of realized, oh hey, I have a new camera that does video. I should do something with that. In the meantime, what I've already done is, let's see if we can... So this is just a Reaper miniature. I'm just doing for a friend as D&D. What I've done already is just cleaned it up. There was nothing to stick together. It was a single piece mold on there. So it is a metal mini. I've already done one layer of primer, and that's kind of what I'm just showing right now, is that, and hopefully it's going into focus. I'm using right now, this is just water, gesso for my primer. I kind of started using gesso, and I'm saying started using, which is kind of a misnomer, I guess. This is only the fourth mini I've done. I've done another Reaper mini, which I'll try and get some footage of later. Of a Ranger was the first one I've done, and I've done some board game pieces. And you see these are a lot smaller. This was actually the second mini I'd ever done on here. These are for their board game Drakon, 4th edition by Fantasy Flight Games on there. So I'm not done by any means with all the pieces. They're a lot smaller. They were harder to do than the Reaper mini. They're quite a bit bigger. So now what's on here right now is, like I said, there's already one layer that I've done, and if you look online you'll see there are other videos of the gesso being used where it's all slathered on. And that works just fine, because the gesso, when it dries, it kind of like tightens up and grabs a hold of everything. But what I found when doing the very small minis is you lose a lot of the really small detail, and I'm kind of trying to do my best to keep that. So I'm just watering it down, just regular tap water. And as you can see, I'm pretty much just putting it on the same way you do a wash, I guess. Just kind of smearing it on. Now this is the second coat. The first coat that I did, I put that on, and I'll probably do a similar thing here, where kind of like you would with an ink or a wash. After I've put it on, I'll kind of go back over it with I'll rinse my brush off and kind of dry it off a little bit, and then I'll grab it from where it's pulling up in the details, because I do want a good tooth for the paint to hold on to. I don't know if I apologize, I'm getting in the way. It's my first video, so. And again, I'm just, let's see if I can. So, I mean, it is just like you would do a wash. And kind of just smearing it on. Just make sure you get a good even coverage everywhere. The reason I started using gesso is just because, well, one, it was cheap. I also started doing my first minis in the winter time, and around here in the winter time, well, I mean, the spray stuff just doesn't work too well. So really that's that's kind of it. That's the second coat on there. And so now all I tend to do next, like I said, like you would if you were trying to just remove too much wash from pulling up, from pooling up. I'm just going to come in and grab excess paint from, or excuse me, of the gesso from some of the cracks and crevices. I want a thin layer. I don't want to lose my detail. That wizard that I showed you was, like I said, only the second mini I had done, and I had seen the videos about just laying the gesso on and letting it tied up, and it did do that. What I came across though is just that the areas where it would kind of pool up, I mean, it's as if they created their own detail. I mean, they created their own little bits of thick, you know, just because, like, an example, you probably couldn't see there, but on one of the arms, it, and you need to be careful too, you don't want it to bubble up. On one of the arms, down the arm, as if, there we go. So like over here on the arm, it would have, on like a smooth part here, it would have kind of clogged up into the shapes of the muscles. It would just been thicker there, and it would have lost some of the definition. So I started with the other two that I showed, is I basically started doing this multi-layer kind of thinning it out, and I like the outcome. It's a little bit more effort, but not really much. I'm sure doing, now that it's starting to warm up, I could do like a spray, go back to, you know, go try and do a spray, and I might do that. I picked up some Space Marines for like $1 each. I think they were from like just tactical Space Marines, and some of them were pre-primed black, so I'm gonna play around with those and try and get some practice in, because I've not done anything with a black primer yet. The thing I've done is done with the white. I think I do like the white better from what I've seen. Some other minis I've seen that were done in the black, where they're not going for that GW style of high contrast, shadows hitting all the crevices, and I should probably, and you see with my other mini that I did, the colors just look brighter and cleaner on the white. Right now I'm just trying to get out of some of the detail here on the fingers, even though it seems like I'm really just using just a little tip of the brush. I'm not pushing hard at all. I'm really just barely touching, and you see I don't know if you can see actually, but I'm getting some off there, but again, it's more like I'm just trying to pick up the moisture. A lot of the gesso is made of a really fine powder, and by this time a lot of that has already started to congeal, so all I'm really kind of doing is just grabbing some of, yeah, see there was a little bit of a buildup on this crevice in its back, of the excess, to keep those details. I mean, this mini even has like little folds on the back of his neck, so and I'll keep an eye out every once in a while for, especially on the big open areas like here, where it's maybe a little bit, you can see a little bit of the metal through, but this is kind of why I did a second coat. And that's pretty much it for that one. It's kind of an example, as you can see. I mean, it's still wet and bright. Let's see if we can, on there. I mean, he's a little bit brighter white than he was before. I'll probably just stop with that second coat. I do also have one that I started from the board game, which I can't wait to get to, but this is the dragon from Drakon.